Welcome, everyone, to Totally Whiskey and Wine. I'm your host, Jason, and tonight we are going to be reviewing Savage & Cooke's Cask Finished Bourbon. So, the moment you've all been waiting for, the rating. The rating is going to be based on our combined totals, and we'll talk about that in a second. But, are you ready? Drum roll, please. $69. That is right. Nice. So, the Savage & Cooke Cask Finished Bourbon got a 69. We rated it based on nose, mouthfeel, flavor, and finish. Each one of us blind took a drink and then rated each category 1 to 25, added our totals up, then added them together to produce an average, and that's where we came up with the number we did. So, let's break everything down for you, and let's start out with the nose. I myself gave the nose a 20. I thoroughly enjoyed the nose. The smells in there, I don't know if I'm accurate on it, but to me, I was getting honey and vanilla off of this thing. And it just was good. And that's amazing for me because I never get anything off anything. So just to get something, I liked it. What about you, James?
So, yes, same. I do the same things as you, nose, mouth, flavor, and finish. The nose is what I gave it the most on. I gave it a 20.
Oh, nice.
And I can't get away from vanilla cookies.
Yes.
So like a vanilla wafer, your grandma's vanilla wafer cookie, the nose is very approachable. It's sweet baked goods like vanilla cookie. I think I find vanilla on this, and I also think there's a hint of allspice, giving the spice nose on it. Allspice. I may not be putting the right word on the spice that I have on my nose.
That might be what I couldn't name.
Yeah, there's a lot of different spices in whiskeys, and that's probably exactly which one is what word. I can maybe smell them, pick them out, but I can't always put the right word to them. But I definitely, that's what I get the most of. It's strong there. It's strong. That's why I gave it a 20.
Yeah, it was good. I loved it.
So, by far for me, the highest rating, spoiler alert, I gave the nose a 23 with notes of caramel, butterscotch, oak. I put dud next to it as a comment. Pomegranate, cherry, and vanilla. Indicative of what you're going to experience when you cask finish a bourbon in any kind of wine. This was finished in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, by the way, just so they are aware. I mean, honestly, the nose is nearly perfect. The only thing I could have wished to see is some kind of more herbal note in here, as that's something, and for anyone who knows Savage & Cooke, one of their previous wines was called the Burning Chair, and I know you're familiar with it, James.
Wine or?
It's a bourbon.
Okay.
It's a very similar product, bourbon finished in Cabernet barrels.
Okay.
But I had an herbal note in that I wish I could have seen carried over. That may have been from the MGP base juice, since this is all grained to glass now. But nearly perfect. The nose is phenomenal.
It was awesome.
I could nose this for hours. If this was a Yankee Candle, I would pay $30 for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we all really like the nose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the only reason I didn't rate it higher was just because just coming off of the wine and the nose on that.
Wait, you mean we record these back to back?
From the previous episode.
Yeah. No, the burn on this, just a little bit, it was just like, okay, maybe if it was just a hair smooth.
Yeah, it's 100. It's right at 100.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for that,
it's
yeah,
a little approachable for folks. Yeah.
But it just seems a little more than I was expecting.
Yeah, I would say it noses a little bit higher of a proof than what it says on the bottle.
Yeah.
So, but not drastic.
Other than that, though, I would rate it higher if it wasn't for that. But it's
All right, so where are you at with the mouthfeel?
Ooh.
What did you give it for the mouthfeel?
So, excellent question. So, mouthfeel, that was actually where I rated it the lowest. I give it a 12. For me, I haven't had a ton of different whiskeys, but I have had a few, and I do know what I like. And this one, when I took my first sip of it, it hit me a lot harder than I thought it was gonna, and I almost coughed a bit from it. I was like, it kind of caught in my chest. and I didn't like the feeling. I had it, I gave it its moment, had a couple more sips, slow, and it's just, for me, it didn't sit as well. It's not bad. It's more middle of the road from what I felt.
So, with that said, for me, I put it hits me on the front and back evenly. I gave it a 19.
Okay.
I like cast strength, high proof stuff, so I'm used to really getting hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I think that this hits evenly through the mouth as you go through. There wasn't anything fantastic about it, but it hit my tongue in all different spots. So I was looking for flavors in all different spots, and yeah, I think it was for a whiskey. It's kind of probably what I expected at 100 proof. I think that's about where I thought it was going to land at. So yeah, 19.
Yeah.
So for me, I gave it a 17. Don't get me wrong, this is fine, especially at 100 proof. But there are a few things I had problems with. Number one, it didn't live very long on the palate. I don't know if this is what you guys noticed, but it dropped off incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And it was a little choppy. It didn't fill the mouth the way I want it to. It sits primarily in the back for me, and a little bit on the sides. But
I think you're hitting
nothing on the front.
You see, I think you're hitting what I couldn't articulate, because it wasn't quite there.
Mm-hmm. And this is round, soft, but I think there are two things that I could ask to improve this whiskey. One's a little bit more time in barrel to try and get more of the Cabernet articulate in here. Not that this product needs to be compared to anything, but the Prickard Hill Cabernet finish from Jefferson's, an amazing Cabernet finish product.
Mm-hmm.
I want more of what they're doing in this, and the proofing, I think it's fine for that. But if it were a little bit harder, I think it would just draw out more of the natural Cabernet. And that's what I want, is something that's the true essence of what's in that barrel and not watering it down to appeal to the general public. Granted, you want to do that to make money, so...
Right. But I agree with you. I think I would have liked it and rated it higher if it would have just kind of like lingered. Just a subtle.
It's funny you two say that. I have it there now. I mean, we're talking here and I haven't said anything. I still can taste it on the sides of my tongue, not the deep back. No Kentucky hug here.
I
got sides of my tongue. I got this.
I got it here, but not
cinnamon
else.
Spicy, just spicy.
Yeah. I've got it on the front, but nowhere else for me.
I still have it on the sides of my tongue.
Don't get me wrong, it sits there, but it's not the way that it grips.
Yeah, I can't say it's anything. Well, let's go jump on to the next thing, flavor.
Yep, I agree.
where we at on
So
flavors?
flavor, yeah. Flavor, I'd give it a little higher. I thought this was better than average. I give it a 16. I like the taste of it. It's that vanilla, like you said, the vanilla cookie, that way, that the caramel that you mentioned, those flavors came through for me a lot, and I enjoyed that. I would have liked to been able to discern a little bit more from it, and a little different stuff, but that was good. I really enjoyed it.
So for me, I gave it an 18. It's still, I'm falling off a little bit on as I'm going down. The nose was definitely the high point on this one. The flavor is more than average. There's definitely things to look for there. It sits on my tongue nice. I can come back at it. I can hit a little bigger, hit a little softer, but nothing particularly notable. Nothing big. Okay. Nothing, wow, this is something else. I got to write this down as a note. So that's where I hit on flavor. It gets me on lots of spots on the tongue. It lingers long enough for me. It tantalizes me to come have another sip, take a little bigger sip, try a lighter sip. Yeah. Give it a minute, swirl it some. So keep giving it some time there, and then that's, you want to do that. I don't want to pour it out for him by any means.
Oh no.
I want to have some more.
Yeah.
So how about you? Sorry.
So I could pour this out. I gave it a 12 on flavor. I think, don't get me wrong, this is fine product, but compared to previous iterations with the Burning Chair and other Cabernet finished products I've had, I just can't get behind this product in terms of flavor. Overall, it's just not for me. The only additional note I got out of it was nutmeg, and I just can't find this exceptional in any way. I think you're better off buying other products.
Okay. So that brings us to the last bit, the finish.
Yep.
This was my second highest rating. I give an 18 on finish. Again, not the expert here on this, but it just kind of left me content. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. It just, overall, it kind of came together a little better than average, kind of pushing up towards the better end of things, but not the peak.
Yeah, so I gave it this one a 16. I'm falling off more and more and more. I want more. I have higher expectations. So it's there. I'll finish the glass.
Yeah.
I'd eventually probably finish the bottle, but I probably wouldn't buy another one. The best thing this thing has going, which we're all kind of agreeing on, is the nose. The nose is really where it's all at.
Yeah.
So for a 16 on the finish, that's where I gave it. And I'll finish it. Maybe I'll have another little sip after we're done talking, just to let it rattle on me on a little bit. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Alright.
I agree with you. I gave it a 16 on the finish. Overall, the nose, incredibly strong on this. I love smelling this thing. But everything else brought it down for me. I'm not
from the nose, it
disappointed,
came
but I
down.
wanted more.
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to sum it up.
Yeah, and like I said,
The nose leaves you
like
expecting so much that it's
Well, I
hard
like-
to follow everything
I
behind
like
that.
the finish. Yeah, I agree, but I like the finish of it, and I think a lot of it has to do with how good it was on the nose, and then just kind of at the end, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I want to give it better numbers,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen for me on the.
But all right, so that's how we broke it down. So overall, let's look at what we gave it. I ended up giving a 66 overall. And James?
Mine was 73 when you add it all together, 73, and most of the carrying was the nose. You know.
And Zach.
And then for me, it'd be a 68.
So, like we said, overall, we came up with a 69 for the total. And that's kind of where it is. Is there anything that you'd like to let us know about this
Yeah,
bourbon?
so I can give you a little bit of details on this. I told you earlier it's a grain to glass product. A little bit about that. So anyone who knows wine from California at all knows the name Dave Finney. So this individual is the madman who is responsible for the chaos that is now the California Red Blend alongside Apothic Winery back in the 70s to 80s. So they created the Prisoner, and he had then since sold the label, was in the worst non-compete clause ever in California wine. The average is like 3 years. He was in it for 7.
Oh, jeez.
So couldn't do anything for an extra year. He came out with 8 years in the desert as a retort, so wandering in the desert for 8 years. This is the same man who created that wine with Ord and Swift.
Okay.
So, hugely famous winemaker got approached to create this whiskey, and I was on Zoom call with him a couple of weeks ago, hence the inspiration for me to grab this bottle. I love the story behind it. I love the individual. I just expect more from the product, but it's all grain to glass out of Sonoma County, California. It's all the same high-end practices. It doesn't use his Ord and Swift barrels by any means. It's collection barrels, so I don't know if they're selling off the barrels for something else or what the project is there. But they have the resources to collaborate. I kind of want to see what that can lead to.
Okay.
I think this is a good start. I want to see improvements to this.
Time to that could.
Absolutely. Time would help this a lot. Getting it a little bit higher proof. Instead of being a 4-year product, make it a 6-year product.
Yeah, leave a little bit more in there without bringing it up in the 108, 110 might help with some.
Just bumping up
And-
that proof a little bit.
Yeah,
and
that
part
could,
of
that could
that-
give you some more on
I-
some of these other
I
categories.
think that if it was a little higher proof to match what I was getting off it originally, then
that might help all the numbers
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that Zoom call, I mean, he learned his lesson with some of his products like Lip Service, how it was a black bottle. Couldn't see the juice inside. People in whiskey want to see the color, because the color on this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was dark, almost brown even.
I think it's gorgeous.
But you can still see the red hint on it from the
It's got
bourbon.
nice color. It has good color.
does.
So
It's gorgeous.
But I know
And that nose. I'm sorry.
I don't know. You keep coming back to it.
I know the product's going through a redesign here soon too, so you'll see a different label from what that presents. It's going to be a lot more classy, black with a little bit of a seal on the top. Same bottle shape, so that'll be nice because the bottle shape sits well on a shelf. It pronounces itself quite a bit,
All right.
but overall awesome.
Thank you.
Any last words for the Savage and Cooke Cask Finished Bourbon?
I have multiple of their products, and I can't say maybe only one or two of the different products I'm not a big fan of. All of them I either have at least a bottle at home that I enjoy, or maybe even a second bottle as a backup
Okay.
lip service, burning chair, all those products I
You're
found
coming
are
back
very
to the
approachable.
burning chair a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very approachable, and like Zach said about the bottle, when you have a totally black bottle, my only fear is I can't see how much I have left, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
afraid to pour myself another glass because I'm like
'Cause you
looking
could
down
run
at the
out.
bottle like, man, this might be the last one, and I like it so much, you know.
Yeah.
So this one maybe not so much, but I definitely would finish this out. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd buy another one, but you know, I'm not super big on wine finished flavors.
Speaking
but
of
it
which,
does enough to it.
price point on this.
So honestly, I'd have to Google it. I didn't.
74, something like that.
Fuck no, it's not that expensive. Pardon my French.
This is an adult channel. You can keep that French and just let it go. So
So the new bottle looks like it's going for about 100. The average price I'm seeing about 50, 65
Okay.
bucks.
so
It's not expensive,
so about $50 to $60 a bottle is what we're looking at.
which is about average nowadays.
It's average, and for an slightly above
Yeah, 50
middle of the road score of 69, $50 to $60 is probably not a bad price point for a bottle. But like you said,
You know, it
You might get
delivers
it
that
once.
price point. At that price point, it's delivering slightly above, I'd say. If you're going to pay $50 for that, you're going to be happy.
I'd
There's
give it
plenty
a
of
buy
whiskeys.
once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of whiskeys for $50 that don't taste as good.
So,
and
there you
don't
have it.
nose nearly this well. So
All right, so that is our review of Savage and Cooke's Cask Finished Bourbon. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
cheers.
Slaughter.